Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome back to our Fuel Arts webinars, where we blend creativity, technology, and venture capital, the three pillars of creative tech. I'm, as always, Denis Belkovich, the co-founder and general partner at Fuel Arts. And joining me today, also as always, Daria Rjavtsova, the head of business development and partnerships at Fuel Arts. And
Hello,
today,
everyone.
sorry. Yeah, and as always, I'm interrupting Daria and do not allowing her to talk. Hi, Daria.
Hi, Dennis, and hi, everyone.
So today we're excited to continue this Swiss webinar series dedicated to the dynamic Swiss creative tech ecosystem and its enablers. And we should mention that this series is made possible thanks to the partnership between Fuel Arts and the Zürich Center for Creative Economies at the Zürich University of the Arts. Yes, and our first endeavor, the Swiss Creative Tech Startups Report, is already published, and you can download it from using this QR code. This report showcases education initiatives, venture support, and partnership opportunities across the 26 cantons of Switzerland. And of course, today we have one of the startups which represents the Swiss creative tech ecosystem. And this we're happy to feature during this session rossogranada Art Angels, the full name, a young and independent art catalyst dedicated to supporting artists by delivering exhibitions, research, and nonprofit art initiatives around the world. We're happy to welcome the guest speakers, Valeria Diaz Granada, the founder of rossogranada, and Xanti Skulariki, the senior director of business development at rossogranada. Hello, Valeria. Hello, Xanti.
Hello, Dennis. Hello, Daria.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and for taking part in our survey for the report. Thank you for your contribution to this study. Let me give a small scope of your biographies, just one phrase for each of you. Of course, your biography stretches much behind those limits. So Valeria is a graduate of Sorbonne in Paris. Valeria conducted research in visual arts, performing arts, and arts administration. She has been working for known fashion brands and with art collections and artistic careers as an independent curator. And Xanti has several degrees in art history and curating contemporary design. Xanti is an accomplished curator, art consultant, and art dealer. So that makes possible Xanti and Valeria to create what we call an innovative art advisory. So today we'll discover how art advisory can be innovative and also with tech. But the first question towards you, the last week, or better say the past few weeks in the art world have been dominated by the Art Basel. So you were the witnesses of these events in Basel. So how do you perceive the 2024 edition for the art fair, and in particular, what role did technology play in this process?
Dennis and Daria, thank you very much for having us. And thank you for the introduction. To answer your first question, if I may, we were very happy to be part of the art experience in Basel this year, particularly as we presented a public installation of Leonora Carrington, which was there for the duration of the fair, right in the heart of the city. Leonora Carrington, we are representing exclusively in Europe, Switzerland, and the UK as from past October. And for us, this was a premiere of what is going to come in our program. to show work of Carrington. In this specific occasion, it was the sculpture that was never shown before outside Mexico up until now. Aside that, we were very much part of the Art Basel Fair, both as witnesses and active business people. We are, of course, like we're there every year, like many of our colleagues and friends and collectors. So to answer your question, this year's edition for me was a personal favorite. It felt very focused. It was mindful of the economic, social, and political realities that we're being faced with. And the conversations and mood were much to the point without the gamut of noise one can encounter at such major gatherings. Or on your comment on technology, I think we can all agree that it is everywhere you turn. So I would assume that the role of technology is by now fully integrated into the business conduct of our profession. There was, of course, the digital art mile, and if one looks at the partners of the initiative, it is very fair to say that the role of technology seems very much like a one-way street in the shaping of the future of the art industry. So we, from our part, we are innovative, using technology as it's absolutely integrated and inevitable, which is, I say that in a good sense. But we acknowledge that there's a lot to be seen in the future, and we are going to have a more active part in that as well.
Really interesting, and thank you for your answer. My suggestion is to go to the topic of rossogranada, and that would be super interesting for us and for our viewers to know more about it. So to start, let's go back to 2022 when it was founded in Zurich, right? What was actually the main idea behind its inception, and how has it evolved since this time?
So, Dennis and Daria, thank you again for the invitation, and I'm more than happy to tell you the beginnings of rossogranada. So it was actually founded in 2022 after 2 years of testing the model. So I was living in Japan, where I was working for a private modern collection, and I wanted to work with living artists. So I asked myself, how can I work with living artists without being a gallery? This was 2020, so it was during the COVID crisis, where I was seeing that all the traditional models were facing actually very difficult moments. Many actors disappeared, many actors evolved, closed, or even changed the way they were working. And I also wanted a model that allowed freedom, and who could also embrace and contribute to the challenges that we face today in the industry, but not only. So I asked myself, is there a way to work in the art industry and to be able to contribute to the challenges that the world is facing today? So that's how it all came about, and we decided to create a hybrid model, which is an innovative art advisory that is supporting artists and projects around the world. But for us, it was also important to be able to contribute as well outside the art industry. So that's how we implemented philanthropy in the model. And because personally, we do care about what's happening today, but we are not professionals in those fields that require a lot of research, a lot of commitment and experience. So we decided that for all the projects that we do, there is a percentage that goes to a cause that is chosen by the artist, the curator, or the collector. And if you take a little step back, mainly the big idea was to show that the art ecosystem can also be a vessel of positive impact, and taking in consideration issues like sustainability, climate change, or equality. So that's in a couple of words how rossogranada started and what is it all about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valeria. My next question. You've started enumerating the directions rossogranada is dealing with. So you have 4 publicly indicated directions. art angel fundraising, art philanthropy, publishing, and collection management. So my question is, among these, is there a primary source of income? And in other words, which area gives you the most optimism?
Dennis, thank you for asking this question here at this webinar, because we also get asked this a lot. So it's a lovely opportunity to put it out there publicly and to further engage into more questions if there are any in this direction. So this, I mean, we're talking sustainability here, which is part and parcel of any new venture. And rossogranada, so recapping on what Valeria said, has been active for about 1.5 years now, with 2 years prior in the making. So it was during the COVID years that we had like a lot of space and time to concentrate on our individuality as an organization and how we could make it work, both as a startup and with a long-term view, because this is what you really need to excel, to break new ground and to grow. So through a process of osmosis and these 2 years of testing the model, which was very critical for us, we have decided on the profile of rossogranada, believing that it ticks those boxes of innovation, sustainability, and having a future. Currently, we're at the stage that all our profit is being fed back into the company. And effectively, this means back to the artists, as we're supporting artists directly. So in order to be able to keep on supporting artistic production at the level we aspire to give a couple of important examples for us as highlights since we launched in 2022, we have supported artistic production for Precious Okoyomon, for her participation at the Okayama Triennale in Japan. That was in the year 2022. And the following year, in 2023, we supported Monira Al-Kadiri, who is really rising artist, at her solo show at the Kunsthaus in Bregenz. And 2024, we have been working quite fervently on the Leonora Carrington chapter. So this is kind of a rhythm we're creating for ourselves. So we put artists first, and with this being our motto, we act on what we commit to. We're very enthusiastic with everything we put our minds into, whether we have the expertise or we take on board like a new learning curve. There is a lot of optimism in the room here, and we're going to keep it going as such, despite the overall tone of the current market's realities. We keep on hearing about that time and time again as of recent. But let's not forget that a moment of pause is also a moment of an opportune moment. And I feel like new ventures like ours can be better seen and heard in more contemplative industries that is going through quite a lot of restructuring, which is happening right now, and since COVID, as a matter of fact. At this stage, I would like to add how special it is for us to be set up in Switzerland. Let's talk about Switzerland a little bit. A country that provides a combination of depth, sophistication, genuine interest, and beyond belief collegiality. It's something that I have not really encountered in my career so far in such generous amounts. And I think it's not accidental that some of the most successful businesses in the arts hail from here. And as we say, like, it takes a village, like, to raise something. And we do have that support, and we're very, which we find very precious and we're very grateful for. As you mentioned on the primary source of income now, the key question here, the hot topic, it is fair to say that we count a lot on our expertise and active business in trading art. Now, trading art, whether this is the art that we have financed in production or secondary market private treaty sales. And this is where rossogranada maintains a traditional dealership role, which makes solid sense, especially as it's something that I've been doing for a very long time out of London. And it is an important resource for us while we're building the sectors of the company, as you outlined, the philanthropy, publishing. Of course, we're offering the whole range of collection management services, and the Art Angels, the fundraising, as you mentioned, which is a separate chapter.
Thank you. I think me and Dennis will definitely agree with you on the view of like Switzerland ecosystem. It's really great, and it's really great to hear that words from you. And I also think that it could be valuable for our audience to hear more about your experience with acceleration, because many startups are thinking what they're going to do with this acceleration, what it will actually bring to their startup. So we know that Rosa Granada is part of in a Swiss runaway incubator, Swiss accelerator innovation project. And my question will be like, what was like the most significant value that this acceleration has brought to your startup? And could you share your view on it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Runway Incubator has really been helpful, and we are extremely grateful to all the team and especially the coaches that were there for us, because we received a valuable mentorship. I would like to take the opportunity to give a special thanks to Melanie Bingley for her support, and also for the insights of Matthias Filzer, who is the head of entrepreneurship at Startup Campus and the Runway Incubator. And Matthias is an exceptional leader, and he really made us think outside the box and really helped us to push the model even further. So the incubator really, really helped us to improve our business model, to actually implement technology, which was not actually there at the beginning, to be honest, and to have a better understanding of social entrepreneurship. And they actually gave us lots of tools and keys to penetrate the Swiss startup ecosystem. Is an environment that is extremely rich. They offer a lot of courses, platforms, and also great investment opportunities. They are also surrounded by fantastic communities. For example, the Female Founders Group, which is a map of female CEOs in Switzerland, who is portraying role models and inspiring women to become entrepreneurs. So the Runway Accelerator brought definitely growth, I would say, and precision to what we do and how we do it. And yes, what can I say? I mean, they brought more Swiss precision to what we do.
Thank you, Valeria. Yeah, we're always happy to hear that someone uses accelerators as the driving force to master their startup experience, and we're as well always happy to hear the feedback, how the accelerators work, and inside the mentioned Swiss Creative Tech report, we've found 41 accelerators which work inside Switzerland with, or better say, have ever been working with creative tech startups inside Switzerland. And in the report, you could see the map which cantons represent those accelerators, and also find the direct links. And I'm addressing to our viewers now, and apply to those accelerators, regardless your Swiss startup or you're outside of Switzerland but would like to apply there. Some of the Swiss accelerators allow international applicants to be enrolled. So I was happy to hear that Swiss made a great deal for you, and you are happy with the result of that work. However, Inner Swiss represents the Swiss Innovation Agency, which is a government office. And from our report, we also found out that the relationship between creative tech and general tech in Switzerland, startup community, and government is I would say is very strong. Yeah, is very strong and quite successful. So how would you assess the level of state support in Switzerland? You as a startup, you not as a researcher from the US, but as a startup from Zürich. So how do you estimate the level of state support in Switzerland? And in your opinion, how can creative tech startups benefit from it besides the government-backed accelerators?
So I would say that actually is what you're saying. No, Switzerland is known for its robust support system for startups, and it includes also the creative tech sector. And there is InnoSwiss, but there's also Pro Helvetia, for example. And what I would say is that in Switzerland, the program of opportunities is so big and so rich, because you have like programs for funding or grants, you have incubators or accelerators like the runway that we did, for instance. You have also educational and research institutions that you can reach out to. For example, we were part of several programs with ETH Zürich and the Zürich University of Applied Sciences, who are actually globally renowned and often collaborate with startups. Also, something that we saw that is extremely interesting is that they offer venture capital and investment networks, and this is actually very interesting for young startups, because, for example, the Runway Accelerator is connected to organizations like the Swiss Startup Group or the Venture Kick that provide financial support and also strategic guidance for startups who are in an early stage. So if you are a young startup, I think my advice would be to join one of the programs that they offer, because entrepreneurship is such a roller coaster, and it's a very like a journey that is always changing now. So I think any knowledge or any experience can only be beneficial. Yeah.
I will totally agree with you. But we need to come back to the really hot topic. I mean, in the startup ecosystem, I think it's one of the most, like interesting topics for the founders. So we will talk a little bit about investments. Rossogranada received their seed investment in 2023, but as well as we just discussed, it's really innovative ecosystem, but yet you have mentioned that fundraising was like one of the most challenging aspects for your company last year. So could you share your experience, maybe give some tips, and just tell us more about this process for you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Sure. To begin with, Rossogranada received seed funding in late 2022. Which was on the back of the two successful years that preceded this official launch. Successful both in commercial terms, but also in building a brand. As for your question about the challenges of fundraising, I think we can generally agree that it does come with challenges to begin with, because it's subject to ever so many external factors that they shape trends amongst investors and they determine their decision making. One could say that things could be volatile. For us, it is so far an incredible learning curve to firstly address Rossogranada as a startup, which is not something that you find quite often in an art in a new art company, let's say. Traditionally, you don't see, unless it's coming with a heavy tech profile, you don't see new ventures going into this direction. So we decided to take that approach and therefore learn a lot in the process, like Valeria was explaining to you earlier, and to walk a parallel walk into the field of VC funding, angel investors, and generally like equity funding. Secondly, we're very focused not to be very much diverted by trends and to show fidelity to our model. Having said that, without excluding the possibility of developing as well in a tech direction that is more prominent, let's just say, to have like a new platform. And in fact, we have a project in the works, if I could just say 2 words about the future. that, should all goes well, we'll be ready to take off in about a year and a half from now, and this is going to be more tech heavy and precise. So in that sphere of conversation, when one talks to investors, I think that loyalty, passion, and a very deep dive in what you represent are essential in raising funds and finding the right match, which is extremely important, I think, for like a long-lasting relationship with your investors, for a general longevity. What I can share about investment relations, that's something that I have very much on my mind, is that you need to have alignment of pace between like a startup and investor, and a mutual understanding of what is being done, the whys, the hows, to create a trusting environment where the startup can set out to do what it has committed to do, and the investor to be confident in the route, like the twists and the turns and the process, that altogether this is called growth. I think that in the end, you want to be working with kindred visionaries who are willing and able to believe in the industry, whether they come from within or not, specifically if they don't come from the industry. They want to believe in the startup idea and in people in equal and healthy measures. I think a balance is a very good receipt, generally speaking.
Thank you. Thank you, Xanti. Please advise us, should we make corrections to our Swiss Creative Tech report as soon as we put the data there that indicates that you received the investment in 2023, as you said in your survey? Maybe there was a small mistake there while you were
There was an error,
filling the survey application. That's why we said 2023. Anyway, regardless, you received it in late 2022 or 2023. We sincerely congratulate you with that achievement. And yeah, thank you for sharing for sharing information and for disclosing some more information about your investment relations. We also know that your investor represented private investors, so he was an individual, not a fund. So and Switzerland is known for individual investors in creative tech more than funds investing in creative tech. That's one of the peculiarities of the Swiss creative tech investment environment. So the webinar, our discussion comes to an end, and we still have time for one question. So let's make it a general one. Before that, you've been replying. We think that you chose who would reply to each of our questions, but now we would kindly ask you to receive both answers from both Valeria and Xanti to our general questions. So how do you envision the future of Swiss creative tech ecosystem, let's say, over the next 5 years? And what is your place within it? So how do you see rossogranada in 5 years? In particular, will your headquarters remain in Switzerland, or do you plan to expand further? The stage is yours.
So, thank you for your question. And I think that talking about future, the future of the Swiss creative tech ecosystem looks incredibly promising, I would say. And with initiatives like what you're doing with Fuel Arts and the collaboration with the Zurich University of the Arts to create the Swiss Creative Tech Report, it makes it extremely clear that there is both a need and a space for young creative tech companies to flourish within the ecosystem, in Switzerland. But however, I must admit that, for example, for me, I was initially surprised because there is a relatively big level of scarcity of startups in the creative sector in Switzerland. And this is, for example, something that I saw in some of the accelerators or the programs that we joined. Of course, the majority tend to be in pharma, in medtech, or traditional tech fields, but very, very few, almost none, was focused in the art industry. So, yet being part also of the Runway Incubator program, where we were surrounded by startups from so many different sectors, I've witnessed also firsthand that there is an immense curiosity and a very big potential for cross-sector collaborations. And I think this is something super interesting because creativity is an important element across all the startups. No, I mean, without choosing any particular sector. And I think if we work in the art sector or in the creative sector, we can actually offer innovative solutions that will benefit others. So I think this kind of complementarity is also a very rich environment for creative tech startups.
My turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do I envision the future of the Swiss creative tech? To me, there is only one way forward. And it's very interesting to see that is also powered by the big players. And you have seen the commitments like companies like Art Basel, with Luma and Art Basel. And if you have, entities as such, that they're stepping forward and they're creating synergies and they're looking to innovate. This speaks for a long-term commitment and plan. So this is also very encouraging for the small fish. That you have, like startups, whether it's tokenization, that's something you can find quite a lot, and so on and so forth. In other words, the ecosystem right now looks quite interesting because you have various sizes, and they could be synergistic, they could be collaborative, they can learn from each other, and then you have the big players who have made some key decisions in the tech direction that I think it's worth paying attention to. Learn, get inspired, believe that this is something that can mature, can grow, and together with the leaders, the smaller entities, the startups can also develop in their own direction. It doesn't have to be everybody swimming upstream in the same way, but there is room for that. And it's interesting to see that the Swiss Legislative Confederation and the academic environments are giving space for that to happen, which is two pillars that you really need to have in order to make something that is well informed, well prepared, and can have a fair start from wherever it's standing. So this is very, very interesting to see. So I want to say I'm a believer. We are part of that. Our so far experience has been seriously supported and enlightened. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. There is a lot to be achieved. There is a lot to be explored. Of course, it's going to come with changes for everybody, adaptations. And we will see what is going to be a prevailing direction as far as tech goes. But I think the overall message that we understand pretty clear is that tech is an operative word right now for ever so many aspects of our industry, and it's involving everybody, and tech, and also like the tech background is becoming more available for younger companies to have access to it and utilize it and empower their like their project. So we should see a lot more, and we're going to be part of that. So that question to be answered again, in next year, maybe. Why not?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Valeria and Xanti, for first of all for coming today, for visiting us, then to taking part in our survey for the report. Your answers were very smart, correct, and show the high level of your knowledge and expertise, which you actually proved today. Yeah, thank you for your inspiring talk,
Thank you so
for
much.
your insights, and uh, for your smart decision. Just one small question in the very end. So, how would you define how art advisory can be innovative in the very end? Just you can say it in one phrase. So, what if someone wants to? What if someone asks you? So, art advisory, innovative art catalyzer, innovative art advisor. So, how art advisory can be innovative? Of course, we have spent half an hour talking about it, but let's summarize it in one phrase, if you may, please.
Mhm. Who's gonna go first?
Santi, you
Oh,
can
I
start.
go first. I think that we're very strong on supporting artists, and traditional art advisories they are more leaning on collectors. This is by definition is the priority to advise institutions, collectors, clients, buyers, whatever term you would like to use here. But in our case, without disregarding that, of course, we have a special emphasis on supporting artists and artistic production. And I don't think there is an advisory out there traditionally. This thing is changing now. Now you can see the word agency instead of advisory. So supporting artists to make artistic production a reality, to enter a space where there is a lot of debate of how artwork production is being financed, who gets to be financed, all those questions, and what comes into production at the end of the day is something that is very subjective. So we're trying to, with our small at the moment size patronage, we're looking to show that it is doable, it is possible to support and to not to intercept, but to add to this conversation of art patronage and to artistic production. So there is more diversity in what gets to be produced. There are more options, more opportunities for artists, and it's not as restrictive as and problematic as it currently is. So we're trying to address that and do our part.
Thank you. Great. I mean, can we say, in other words, that artistic career nowadays can be more or less considered as a startup because it has the similar features?
Well, I
Yeah.
think artists are somehow entrepreneurs in a way. They are always pursuing risks. They are always trying to have new opportunities and yes, giving like different answers to problems or giving different solutions, different visions. So if that's the definition of an entrepreneur, yes, somehow it is. But I think it's more than that. That's what makes them
More than
special.
that, yes. Yeah, that's. I'm very pleased to hear that reply. What about you, Daria?
Yeah, from my point of view, as we worked for a few arts for acceleration, and I saw how many interesting applications we received back then from the artists who had their ideas of the startups as well, and also they looked at their career as a startup. And we also read a lot of great ideas of how to promote themselves, how to sell, how to work with the partners. And like when you're reading this application, you understand that it's totally about the enterprise, the company, and that's great to see. And I think that it's really cool for the artists that they can see their career as a business, make money from this, and live their happy life with that, doing the things that they can do the best. and that's really important.
Yeah, sometimes we even receive angry messages like, how can you call yourself an accelerator if you are not accelerating artistic careers, the most important, let's say, creative venture?
Okay, we
Never
have
existed.
we have a different focus, but that's
Maybe we can
really
help.
Yeah. Yes, maybe with together with rossogranada, we'll create a special acceleration course for artistic career development. Let's think about it.
Certainly. I mean, the way things are going, it is obviously needed, because there are practical limitations to and restrictions to creativity at the end of the day. And not to say that creativity must be boundless at all times, but it's important to have representation and to have options, and to also for the artist to know that there is a possibility of a breather when it comes down to financing artistic production. That doesn't have to come from complicated open calls and applications and grants, which is one source. The other source would be to go to the bank, but that we know very well it's really not always feasible if you're not a blue chip artist. And if you don't have if you have a gallery, maybe the gallery is there to support that. But if you don't, that's another problem down there for you. So there are limitations, there are issues there that we are looking to address, and it's for us. It's also an explorative process. We don't have ready answers for everything. We that part is also working very much instinctively when we understand how and where we can actually play a part, that we can fit and we can make a contribution, that we can make a difference. We do think ambitiously, but I would like to believe that we think within our means, which is also very important. And one step at a time.
Yes, great. Thank you again, Valeria. Thank you, Xanti. Thank you, Daria, for being with us today. An inspiring note, an inspiring tone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Daria, so much.
For our audience, we should say that next Thursday there will be the 4th of July, the Independence Day in the United States. So we'll probably miss this next week's webinar, unless we have a very, very brave Swiss startup who would like to prove that to prove that he or she will collect audience during the Independence Day. But we'll be back on the track for sure on the 11th of July, exploring a very interesting topic: a Swiss founder who is trying to find himself abroad, to relocate his startup from Switzerland abroad, staying Swiss startups and claiming himself to be a Swiss startup. That's very interesting. Thank you, Xanti. Thank you, Valeria. Wishing you good luck with rossogranada, and staying in touch. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.